This is a quick overview of the Crypt Keeper Cemetery software online version. There's another video specifically for the desktop version that is also available. When you reach our main page, please click on the icon to create a 30-day trial, if you haven't already, and once your credentials are verified you'll be able to log in. From the home page, click on the lock icon to get to the login page. Input your username and password and click on the login button. You will be presented with the dashboard, which contains 6 large icon buttons. The button on the top left is where you would input or edit information, as well as view your optional map and any images you have uploaded. The button on the top middle gets you to the report generator feature. Here you can run reports that we have assembled for you, or you can create your own custom reports. The button on the top right gets you to our knowledge base, where you can review frequently asked questions or view our tutorials, as well as interactively chatting with other members to see how they work with the software to meet their needs and see if you can benefit from their experience. The button on the bottom left is the map creation feature. It is browser-based, so it has some limitations, but there is an optional downloadable enhanced map editor you can utilize for a better building experience. The button on the bottom middle is where you can make changes to your account. You can add multiple cemeteries, multiple grave types, add new data fields, and much more. The button on the bottom right is the feature to add or update users for your account. You can create master users or guest users with varying permissions. You can also create a handshake hyperlink that you can implement on your own existing website so that you can seamlessly share your Crypt Keeper data with your website visitors. Let's start with the security feature. From the dashboard, click the bottom right icon button. You are presented with a listing of users associated with your account, which will very likely just be one record to start with. If you click on the username, you get to an edit page. Here you can change the password of the user or change their permissions. Permissions include master, view only, and no reports. When you're done making changes, just click on the save button. If you decide you no longer want this user on your account, you would click the delete button. From the security listing, you can also add new users by clicking on the link for add new user. Input a unique username and then assign a password and permissions. If you check the master checkbox, they will have complete control over everything in your account. If you check the view only checkbox, they will not be able to add or edit information and will be somewhat limited in the features they can access. If you check the no reports checkbox, they will be further restricted with features they can access. If you want to create a handshake hyperlink to use with your own website for guest visitors, leave the master checkbox unchecked and then check both the view only and no reports checkboxes and then click save. Then go back in to edit that user and you'll see additional options below the save button. There will be a hyperlink that you can copy and paste to your website that will take your guest visitor directly into your account to view your cemetery records and your optional map. You can also set a redirect hyperlink back to your website when the user clicks the logout menu so they safely return to your site. You're probably going to want to customize your account experience, and to do that you will want to edit your configuration and settings. From the dashboard, click on the bottom middle icon button to get to the settings page. Here you will find menu options and hyperlinks on the page to direct you to areas of interest. Let's start by clicking on the Custom Fields menu. You will see that there are 8 data fields that can be renamed from the already existing list of data fields. The first 3 are the grave identifiers. By default we call them section, lot, and grave. But your organization may use different language, so feel free to change these as needed. Please avoid using any special characters when assigning custom field names. They should be limited to alphabetic characters, numbers, hyphens, and spaces only. Below the grave identifiers are 5 other data fields that you can change to suit your needs. And if that isn't enough, you can also add entirely new data fields with the grid below the save button. Click on the Add New Field hyperlink to see more. On this page you can assign the name for the custom data field and then choose one of 4 data types: text, number, amount, or date. A text field can be any series of information up to 255 characters in length. A number can only be integer, no decimal places. An amount can be any valid monetary value, up to 2 decimal places. A date can be any valid date in the range of January 1, 1753 through December 31, 2999. Click on the Save Custom Field button to retain your changes, but keep in mind that once you create a custom field you cannot delete it. You can request us to delete it for you on your behalf, but for safety reasons we do not allow users to delete custom data fields. The rest of these features we will save for a more in-depth tutorial video. There are 3 ways to add records to your account. One is by directly inputting your graves one at a time into the database. To do this, you would start from the dashboard and click on the top left icon button for View Edit Your Data. On the next page, click on the menu titled New. Freely input your information, and don't worry if you don't have all the information now, you can always come back and add to it later. You'll notice drop-downs for cemetery and lot type. These can be updated in the configuration and settings icon back on the dashboard, but that's another video. When you get down to the section in gray, you can choose to add a new purchaser for this record, or select one you already inputted previously from the drop-down. If you choose from the drop-down, do not input data in any of the other gray area boxes. Once you've inputted all the data, scroll to the bottom of the page and click on the Save button. The second way to add records to your account is through the Purchasers Manager. At the top of the data entry window, you'll see a menu item titled Purchasers. Clicking on this menu brings you to a new page showing you a listing of all the purchasers you've added to your account, or it may be empty if you have no records yet. Click on the hyperlink that says, Add New Purchaser. Complete all the data fields for your new purchaser and then click on the Save button. In the grid area at the bottom of the page, click on the link titled, Add New. This is an abbreviated version of the main data entry page. Input all the data you have available and then click on the Save button. You'll see that the grid is populated with the record you just inputted. Click on the Edit link next to that grave for more details. This time it opens up in a pop-up window so you won't lose your place. Fill in any necessary data and click the Save button at the bottom of the page, or just close the pop-up if you don't want to make any changes. Click on the menu titled, Return, to get back to the dashboard. The third way to input data to your account is via spreadsheet import. If you have your data stored electronically, you can send that to us so we can upload it on your behalf. Now that you have data in your account, you'll want to be able to search for that data. From the dashboard, click on the top left icon button titled, View Edit Your Data. Next, click on the menu titled, Search. You can search for data 3 different ways. First, by keywords. Second, by date range. Third, by grave location. When searching with keywords, you would type those in the box at the very top of the page, separated by spaces, and optionally check, or uncheck, the boxes below the keyword's input box. Then click on the Search button to see if any records match that criteria. Any matching records will be displayed below the Search button in a grid. To view the details of a found record, click on the link titled, View. The details of the record are then displayed, along with any images you might have uploaded for that particular grave. If you want to edit this record, click on the link at the top of the page titled, Click here to edit this record. The same page displays that would show if you were inputting a new record. Make any changes and then click on the Save button. Click on the menu titled, Search, again. Now let's try searching by dates. In the Date Range section, choose which date you want to search on from the drop-down. Date of birth, date of death, date of interment, or date of purchase. Then in the next 2 boxes provide the date range. You can optionally leave one of these empty, which makes the search open-ended. For example, if you want to search for all records with a date of birth up to September 21, 1966, you would leave the first date box empty and then in the second box put September 21, 1966. Then click on the Search button to see your results. Lastly, you can search for graves based on grave identifiers. All 3 are optional, so if you only want to return records for section, input the section value and leave the other 2 values empty. Then click on the Search button. A maximum of 1,000 records will be returned. Please note that you cannot mingle the search options. You can only search by either keywords, or by date range, or by grave location. If you want a more targeted search, you may want to create a custom report. A popular feature of this software is the ability to work with an interactive cemetery map. There are 2 ways to create a cemetery map. From the dashboard, click on the lower left icon button titled, Design Edit Maps. If you are just starting from scratch, you'll have to create your canvas area. To do this, click on the menu titled, Configuration. Here you can tell the software how big your cemetery is in rows and columns. If you get this wrong, don't worry, you can add or reduce these values later. Now that you have a canvas, you can start adding graves to your cemetery. Using your mouse, hover over one of the cells in your canvas, and then click where you want a grave to exist. A pop-up box will appear. You'll see a drop-down that will identify the cell you're editing. Options here are, Unused, Road, or Grave. Let's choose the option titled, Grave. Then fill in the grave identification values that will match up to your data records. This is vital. If these values don't match your grave records, the automatic color coding will not work correctly. Repeat these steps until you have your map completed. This is the slowest and most tedious map creation method. The second and faster method is to use the advanced map editor. But please note this means downloading software to your computer, and it must be a Microsoft Windows-based computer. To get this, click on the menu titled Advanced Editor. There is a separate video detailing this feature. You'll notice as you add graves, if the grave identifiers match up with any existing records in your database, they will automatically become colored. Red indicates that the grave contains at least one interred person. Blue means the grave has no interred persons, but someone has paid for the grave. Yellow indicates that a name exists for either the interred or the purchaser but no dates provided yet. White means there is not enough information in the database to color the grave. If you create roads or paths, they will be colored black. And green just means that's an unassigned portion of your map. Now that you have a map created, let's see how it looks. Return to the dashboard. Click on the top left icon button titled View Edit Your Data. You'll see a menu item titled View Map. Click on that. Your map is displayed and color-coded. You won't see any grave identifiers in the graves, but if you hover over a grave you'll see a tiny pop-up appear with information about the grave. If you click on a grave you get even more details. And if you click on the link titled Review, the entire data record will be displayed for that grave. Depending on how your account is configured, this will likely open up in a new tab of your browser. To get back to the map, just close the newly created tab. It is possible to have more than one record assigned to a single grave, and when that happens you'll see multiple entries in the grave pop-up box after you click on a grave. If you have uploaded images to your grave records, they will also be displayed in that pop-up. Please note that if you upload more than one image to a grave, you will see multiple entries in the pop-up, even though they all point to the same record. You can see more map details by clicking on the button titled Show More Details. A more zoomed-in version of the map is displayed, and this time the map shows you the grave identifiers in each cell. The hover box still appears if you just move your mouse over a grave, and you can still click on a grave to get further details. A new feature of this page is the ability to search for a grave on the map based on the last name of the interred. Type in a last name that you feel would exist in your map and then click on the button titled Scan the Map. Any matching graves will be colored light purple, for easy visibility. Another way to search for someone on the map would be from the search page. Go back to the dashboard and then click on the top left icon button. Click on the menu titled Search. Search for the record with one of the search methods and click on the button titled Search. Open one of the search results. Depending on the configuration of your account, you'll see a link titled Click here to find on map. If the grave exists on the map, it will be colored purple for visibility. That should be enough to get you started. And be sure to check out our other videos which go further in depth. If you have questions along the way, click on the menu titled Contact.